Okay, let's jump right into this explainer, and honestly, let's just completely shift our mindset right out of the gate. So often, we think about content creation as this purely magical art form, right? We imagine creators just sitting around waiting for inspiration to strike while staring at a blank screen. But today, we're looking at it through a totally different lens. We're going to see it as an engineered science, using a super strategic framework laid out in the Architect's Manual for Digital Virality. Basically, we're putting on our hard hats and digging into the actual math behind the magic.
Think about the last piece of content you absolutely couldn't stop watching. You know, the one you immediately sent to a group chat or saved for later? We're going to break the fourth wall for a second and ask a really important question. Was that virality just pure dumb luck, or was it meticulously constructed from the ground up? Well, the source material we're breaking down today argues firmly for the latter. It basically says that true, repeatable success isn't random at all. It's highly, highly strategic.
Here's the exact four-step architectural blueprint we're going to follow today to systematically build highly engaging digital content. We've got the blueprint, the assembly, the polish, and finally, the launch.
Let's start right at the foundation with Phase 1, the blueprint, where we deconstruct viral media.
So, the absolutely critical first step here is what we call structural analysis. Basically, this means systematically examining existing successful media to understand its underlying mechanics. You're essentially reverse engineering what is already crushing it out there in the real world. You're not guessing what people might like. You are actively decoding the DNA of a proven viral hit. In fact, the manual even suggests watching top-performing media multiple times with the sound completely muted. It sounds crazy, but it forces you to study the cuts, the framing, and the kinetic energy without getting distracted by the words. A lot of people skip this because, let's face it, it feels like homework, but it is the absolute bedrock of this entire framework. Now, what are we actually looking for when we analyze? 3 specific targets. First up, effective storytelling. You absolutely have to have a satisfying narrative arc with clear emotional stakes. Second is ideal pacing. This is wild, but the source notes that in highly viral content, the visual or auditory stimulus changes roughly every 3 to 5 seconds. Literally, it actively resets the brain's attention span so they don't scroll away. And third, captivating hooks. You've got maybe 3 seconds to grab a viewer, so a great hook relies on immediate visual novelty or dropping a provocative statement that opens a massive curiosity gap. Crack the code on these 3 things and your foundation is rock solid.
But remember, that analysis is literally just step 1 of this 4-part production workflow. It goes from structural analysis straight into AI content generation, then technical execution, and caps off with distribution. It's a super logical flow, and you absolutely cannot skip straight to the end if your foundation is cracked.
Okay, moving right along to Phase 2, assembly. This is where AI content generation comes into play.
Now, the manual is super specific about this. We are using artificial intelligence strictly as our drafting board. We are not asking it to build the final house. We're just using it to rapidly generate the raw materials based on that analysis we just did. This is a huge distinction. If you ask AI to write a final polished draft on its own, you're going to end up with bland, robotic mush that has zero human soul. Instead, think of AI as your incredibly fast assistant who puts up the scaffolding, which frees you up to focus on the high-level architecture and the actual personality of the piece.
And check this out. This is a brilliant insight. Look at the balance of AI production here. It's practically an even 3-way split. It isn't just about telling an AI to write detailed scripts. That's only about 1/3 of the pie. It's equally about generating visual descriptions and creative prompts to guide the build. So instead of just saying, hey, write me a script about financial literacy, you also prompt it by asking what kind of B-roll or graphics should play during the hook to maximize retention. This multi-layered approach ensures everything is completely cohesive before you even think about hitting record.
With our materials generated, we enter the interior design phase. Phase 3, the polish, our editing roadmap.
Think of this editing roadmap as your ultimate technical toolkit. It breaks down exactly how 3 core elements construct a viral hit. First is timing, which, as we mentioned, completely dictates pacing and retention. Keep that brain stimulated. Linger a second too long, and they're gone. Second is transitions. The manual highlights slick techniques like the J-cut, where the audio of the next scene starts playing right before the visual actually cuts over. It subconsciously pulls the viewer forward without them even realizing it. And third, audio elements. People overlook this way too often. Sound effects, slight EQ shifts, or even intentional dead air. These cues subconsciously tell the viewer exactly how to feel and what's important.
This level of exact technical execution is where the magic really happens. It takes your project from a neat idea on paper to a highly engaging, immersive reality. Honestly, if you've ever found yourself doom scrolling for an hour, totally losing track of time, yeah, you've been on the receiving end of this exact execution. It strategically taps into our psychological craving for novelty and resolution.
Finally, we reach the curb appeal phase 4, the launch. Let's maximize that content visibility.
To guarantee the algorithm actually pushes your stuff, the manual gives us a punchy 3-part checklist: optimized titles, optimized descriptions, and visual branding. Listen, you could have the most brilliantly edited, perfectly paced piece of media in human history, but if your title doesn't leverage keywords while also opening a massive curiosity gap, no one is clicking it. If your visual branding doesn't catch the eye in a crowded feed, it's game over. The packaging is just as absolutely critical as the content itself.
Just look at the comparison here. When you rely on poor packaging and a random upload, your content essentially dies in a void because the algorithms completely ignore it. But when you optimize your visibility with precise titles, killer descriptions, and great branding, you're spoon-feeding the platforms exactly what they want. It acts like a catapult, launching your work directly into the feeds of the exact right audience. The difference is literally night and day.
So, what should you take away from this whole explainer? If you remember just one thing, make it this: virality is an engineered reality. It is not an accident. It's the predictable result of a start-to-finish framework. From reverse engineering the absolute best, to using AI for the heavy lifting, executing a ruthless technical edit, and totally optimizing your distribution. It's a formula, and it works.
I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought for the next time you're scrolling on your phone. When you watch that next crazy popular video, are you just going to be a passive viewer, letting the entertainment wash over you? Or are you going to step up and be the architect, actively reverse engineering the build and hunting for those structural hooks? The choice, and your own potential for digital virality, is totally up to you.